Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug. First time we reviewed a pay-per-view in a long time. Wrestlemania 40. I'm the Egyptian king of shithousery. It is Aaron Nix, the Egyptian con machine, the Egyptian death machine, the Egyptian videography machine. And joining me is the Maple Leaf magician, the #1 Canadian destroyer himself, the Duke of Diabetes, Kyle Wilkinson.
Comes out of hiding for WrestleMania. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, what a mark. Just a
Just
big time Charlie just turns up for the big pay-per-views. That's it. Like we'll see him once a year now, just for
no,
Mania. That'll
I'm
be
just
it.
like I'm just like Roman Reigns, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to be fair, it was quite a stat actually, wasn't it? 31 title defenses in like 1,300 odd days. I was like, yo, that's not a good return in your
No,
investment. Like
that's
they made it out like it was a big deal, and I was like, that's not a good. I mean, don't get me wrong, the quality opponents is pretty sick for the most part, but
yeah, that
yeah.
the number, if I can, was I think it was 1,316 days, and he had 31 defenses. There's about it's like 40, 43. So I don't know what the math is. It's not very good.
It's not great,
Fuck
no.
math. Math is hard.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, it's not fantastic, if we're being honest, but it is what it is. So we're going to review both nights of WrestleMania. I'll try and timestamp it so you guys can skip to the matches you want to talk about. So night one obviously opened up with Rhea Ripley successfully defending the Women's World Championship against Becky, who came out dressed as a book. They
Yeah,
great.
it was weird.
It
The
was
match was good match
match was
though.
good. Yeah, the match at the start I was like, I'm not really that bothered about this. I'm not interested. I don't like Becky Lynch. I had a really bad gut feeling that Rhea Ripley was going to lose, which sort of made me feel really uncomfortable as I don't like this. But luckily Rhea Ripley won, which is the right choice. Becky Lynch doesn't need to win. A unique way of advertising your own book by coming out as the book itself. Essentially, like just missing, like I was hoping she was going to come out like a square or whatever. Like, I just don't care. I've not cared about Becky Lynch for some fucking time now. So for me, like it's very disappointing actually when you look at all the women who didn't make it to WrestleMania, especially
That's a
obviously
lot.
my girl Liv Morgan, who's been putting in a hell of a lot of work lately. It is a little bit disappointing to see that. And yet, there's Becky. I get it. Becky Lynch is a draw. So of course she's going to be at Mania. Um, but yeah, no, Rhea Ripley retains. I'm happy with that. I just hope Becky's gonna fuck off for a bit. Like, just go away, have fun, be a mother, and sell
Yeah.
your book and make shitloads of money on and just fucking chill, innit? And maybe she can join Seth now that he's fucking, titleless and jobless to a certain degree. Ah,
Spoilers.
yeah, spoilers indeed. Anything else you felt about with that matchup?
I really liked Motionless in White playing Rhea to the ring. They were a terrifying group of human beings. Like with their makeup and stuff, that was terrifying.
So yeah, there's a guy that I work with, Rise up north here, and I didn't realize this. He comes out to the same band, but he comes out to Death March. They're really cool. But I tell you what, I thought they fucking sucked live. He barely sung any of the lyrics. I was just
Yeah.
like, I think he got a little bit overwhelmed by the sight of it and stuff, which is a shame really because their music is really good, at least pre-recorded. But then that's always the, you know. I don't want to rag on
There,
him too much, but
there was like 72,000 people there, and like to do the kind of vocals that he does, like it's not easy. Most
what people forget about a song like that as well is that it kind of takes a lot of pre-record to get that right. Like you don't just do
Yeah.
that in one take. That doesn't work. Like, we forget how spoiled we are with things. But that being said, you know, you, you're doing it live. You know you're doing it live. Just do better in it. But Rhea looked fucking gangster as well. It was just so hot. Like I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Like there's a reason your mommy and Judgment Day feeling pretty good about themselves. Apart from the fact that they lost the six-pack tag team ladder match in pretty hilarious fashion. Six teams went out there. We had A-Town Down Under. We had the Awesome Truth. We had the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damien Priest. We had DIY, the New Day, and of course, New Catch Republic, my boys. Great Britain, of course. And we ended up with separated tag teams again, which is nice,
Thank
thank God.
God.
Smart
Jesus
move.
Christ. Oh,
Smart move. They've got some depth in the tag team divisions on both sides now, so this was the right choice at the right time. And obviously, interesting though, rather amusingly, out of all of the tag teams and everything, it was actually two teams that are made up of singles guys that won won the tag belts. A-Town Down Under win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Awesome Truth win the Raw Tag Team Championships. Um, how was a ladder match with 12 men for you?
there was almost too much to watch. Like it almost felt like, the Kevin Dunn era where you had to camera cut everything just to try and see everything. But I think all the spots that they wanted to show prominently were good. There was there was a lot of shit that went on here. Some was it Austin Theory or Grayson Waller? I think Grayson Waller died.
Oh, well, when he stuck for the table after he won.
Yeah, like his was it Grayson Waller that got smashed through the ladder that was across the table in the ring after he got the titles?
It was one of them, yeah.
Yeah, I
It's,
don't remember which one, but he died.
yeah. I mean, like I thought this match sucked. Didn't like it. I don't think it was very good.
Oh, I
Um,
love most of the teams in it. Like I love DIY. I think everyone still knows that. New Catch Republic, which I think is actually a pretty sick tag name. I really like that.
it's not gone over well, and the problem with that is it's very European.
Yes.
Which is great for me, but I can understand as an American, I'm like, what the fuck is New Catch Republic? I do like the fact that Pretty Deadly cut a promo before this, where they're just walking through the park, slagging off all the teams and saying New Catch Republic sounds like a pair of khaki jeans or, fishing. It's like, and
Yeah.
the problem is when you do that, that sticks with the fucking smarks. They're gonna love that shit, and they're gonna hold on to that and give them more stick. The only spot that really stood out to me, other than of course R-Truth's hot tag, which was amazing,
Oh,
was
so
um
good.
was the double moonsault off the ladders, which was really cool. But other than that, I'd seen everything before. It was messy. It was sloppy. It was too many. It was actually too many. They would have been far better off just having three teams, just like they did at WrestleMania 33. That worked much better because you got timing for all the spots.
Yeah.
Leave the ladder matches alone, especially when you got a Money in the Bank pay-per-view coming up as well. Just no point. No point. I'm glad the vehicle worked to have new champions on each side. I don't think Awesome Truth will hold on to them too long. I think A-Town
Nah.
Down Under might have more success just because they're heel gobshites.
Yeah.
But they feel like there might be vehicles for other teams to come in and take them, or maybe teams to re-debut. So yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with the teams that won. Like, if the New Day won again, I was like, come on, bruv. Like, how many times you had these things? Like, 10 times? You don't need them. New Catch Republic would have been nice. I don't actually like New Catch Republic. I just like Pete Dunne. I hate Tyler Bates' Zen gimmick. I mean, it's stupid. I think it's
It's a
dumb.
little odd, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't fit with with Pete Dunne, who is the assassin. I know what they're trying to go for. It's like this guy's a psycho and this guy's chill, and they balance each other out. No, they don't. That's not how that works. I'd rather that they were both psychotic and stretching people out and breaking their fingers and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I'm also privy to years and years of watching these guys on the indies and working with them as a ring crew and all that sort of stuff. So, whatever. It is what it is. It was just a spectacle, but it wasn't a good one for me. Um, the tag team crossing the border match, Rey Mysterio and Andrade, who replaced poor Dragon Lee, who just got shit canned the night before. Which is, I wonder
Yeah,
if
it's
he
pretty
knew.
rough.
I wonder if he knew beforehand he wasn't going to be in. Like, you do wonder with these things. Like, did they tell him or did they just fuck him off? But yeah, you had Rey Mysterio and Andrade with Cruz del Toro, Carlito, Joaquin Wild, and Zelina Vega at ringside. Bit much. They beat Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic, who had Angel, Umberto, excuse me, and Elektra Lopez on the outside. A bit surprised that Dominic Mysterio has taken the L twice in Big Mania matches with his father.
He's young. He has time to get a bunch of wins back once Ray finally goes away.
Yeah, which I hope is sooner rather than later. This match wasn't bad actually. Like I must admit when I saw it, I was like, yo, that's a piss break match for me.
Oh,
Like not, and it's like I love Andrade. I think Andrade's sick. I particularly like um looking at Elektra Lopez. If I'm being honest, that's very much the highlight of the match for me. Although they was it Wacky Wild who did the slingshot thing when they sprang him off the ropes and he went
yeah. He went. I swear he went
boing.
like 30 feet.
That was sick. Like that was very cool. The problem was that it was a match that, and also it was sponsored by like some weird Mexican shit as well, wasn't it? What the fuck was that all about? Like very weird sponsor. They had some weird sponsorships on this show, as we're going to
Oh,
talk
they
about
sure
in another
did.
tag match. Yeah, a little bit culturally insensitive, dare I say, at times. Which, yeah, it's just a match, wasn't it? It was just a really good wrestling match, but I didn't feel the emotion of the win. Like, oh, this is a big deal for Rey
Oh,
Mysterio and Andrade.
thank
I
God they
didn't
won.
care. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
like
like,
it was definitely
oh,
cool to see Andrade back. There was one particularly spinning back elbow that looked gnarly,
yeah.
but like it was like a SmackDown main event match, which isn't a bad thing, but it felt like it was for the media payday, which could be nice for the performers, kind of tedious for us.
Yeah, I just it it was one of those things where everything was executed fairly well, but it was just a load of Mexicans. It's just like that's all it was. Like it was almost like for anyone who's like an older listener or viewer, they might remember when they used to roll out the midgets, the dwarves like Max, Mini, and Tarantula, and these crazy
Yeah,
Mexican midget wrestlers who were amazing. Like they could do all these crazy cool shit. But it felt like that on acid. Like, yeah, they're somewhat fully grown, but they still just it's a very novelty kind of match. I don't think it was WrestleMania worthy. I would have rather just had Dom versus Mysterio again with Dom going over. It was a real mixed bag for Judgment Day actually. Like the first night they
yeah.
kind of got a shit can, and next night they're like have it, except for Rhea obviously who always smashes it. Um, what has to be arguably the biggest letdown in recent WrestleMania history, Jimmy and Jey Uso one on one. The match I was so stoked. This was the match, right? In the pre-show, I was saying to people, this is it. This is gonna steal the show. Two brothers going one on one. It hasn't been done since the Hardys, and before that, the famous match with Owen and Brett at WrestleMania 10. You thinking this is going to be quite special. And it was actually really fucking poor. It felt like a mid-card match on SmackDown at best. It was just, get the super kick counter out, innit? I think there's 20 odd super kicks. It was like it's too much. It was actually it wasn't visceral, it wasn't hateful, it didn't feel violent. It just felt like a match between two brothers who have a bit of an ego.
It
After,
was
yeah,
it was offensively boring for what the story should have been told like.
I know
The
many
the
things that are offensively boring.
yeah,
It was
like
it was it was Frankie T. Oh, sorry. It's like
like
I like the term.
it was the match, you're right, it was fine. Like there were it is what it is. But from Jay first starting to have doubts in the bloodline, to them leaving together, to getting that huge win at Money in the Bank. Jay pinning Roman for the first time in like what, 3 years or 2.5 years at the time, or what? That was huge. And they're like, all right, now we get Roman and Jay SummerSlam, tribal rules, none of the bloodline can interfere. All of a sudden, the bloodline's there. Jimmy comes back to kick Jay in the face for no reason. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, yeah, man, I just didn't want you to be like Roman, but I'm going to go hang out with Roman now. Bye. What do you mean? And they
Yeah.
kept them up. They put them on separate shows, which was fine because it would have got very tedious seeing them just be on the same show but not interact for 6 months. They had their little stare off in the Rumble, starting off at 1 and 2. That went nowhere. And then we got this, and I don't remember if this match started up with a collar and elbow tie up, but
Don't
it,
think so.
I, I,
Or I
I think
might have.
it might have started a little hotter. I don't
Super
remember.
forgetful. I don't remember anything about it other than the super
Exactly.
kicks. You
And
know?
it was,
They got the winner
the,
right. That was about it.
yeah,
Like
they deserved
literally,
more.
the Jey Uso's entrance was amazing, and then
Yes.
Jey Uso won the match, and that's basically it. Like, there's nothing about it, also they were given 11 minutes. Like that's not long enough for two brothers who want to kill each other, or at least storyline wise. Like 11 minutes isn't long enough, and it's. Do you know what? I feel like the main event, dare I say, might have cut the legs off a couple of these matches a little bit,
I
like
mean,
not in an inadvertent kind of way. Because when you see how long the main event is, you think, come on, bro. Like, 11 minutes. Normally, I'm
that's
happy with 11 minutes, but for a match of this quality, no. Like the fact that this was the same length as the Mexican flippy match, I was like, nah, that should have been
no.
5 minutes, and they should have had an extra five on this. And maybe they
It's
would have.
almost insulting.
I dare I say, mate, it'd be interesting to actually sit down and say, why do you think it didn't work out? Because I reckon they looked like they were racing to the finish at one point, like get to it, get to it, get to it, and I was just like, you can't race something like that, as we've seen tonight, and we've seen
Yeah.
with the main event of the first night, which ironically was the opposite of a race in every
Oh,
sense. It was a marathon. But yeah, Jey Uso goes over. That's the right decision for me, but that's about all I can say about it. It was the biggest disappointment, arguably, of the two nights for me was that
yeah,
match.
yeah, easy.
Um, yeah, and then we get the the six women's tag match, which for me is what kickstarted this night a little bit. Because I was sitting here thinking, all right, the women's match is pretty decent. Then after that, it's all stuff that I don't care about or have let me down. Jimmy and Jay wasn't great. The Mexican match, meh. I didn't like the tag match, ladder match. So for me, I'm sitting there thinking this is actually not a very good WrestleMania so far, at least. Um, and then the six women's tag I thought was fucking great. So it's
Oh,
Jade
fire.
Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi versus Damage Control. Minus of course Io Sky, who's facing Bailey on night two. Uh, First of all, Dakota Kai blew my fucking brains out. I like it's it's like we're trying to pretend like it's not there. She's so beautiful. I mean, all these women are stunning. Like, holy cow. The physical conditioning, by the way, of the faces was outrageous. That might be
Oh,
the three most impressive physiques in one match that a team, like in terms of any team, male or female, I was like, holy shit, look at these women. Jade Cargill quite literally carved out some beautiful alien element, like a statuesque figure of perfection. Bianca Belair shredded. Naomi is just a different breed of athlete. And like all these women worked really, really well. The one thing I will say is very evident they don't trust Jade Cargill yet to kind of go 10, 15 by herself. There has been a lot of talk that she's a bit green, that she's still needs work in the performance center. And I felt like that showed because she was very much protected in this match. She got the hot tag, kind of, whipped everybody's ass. And then ultimately the faces get the big win. The other thing as well is that this match was sponsored by fried chicken, which I so
mm,
you know obviously shock. I'm not black. I'm Arab, so I'm mixed race. I mean that's pretty evident. But I'm sitting here thinking, really, like you got to like his Vince McMahon got control for just one match or something. It seemed very out of place, a little bit culturally insensitive. But I'm not the most woke person in the world, and if a black person messaged me and said, "Yo, I don't give a fuck," I'm like, "Okay, that's cool," like because it's your prerogative at the end of the day.
yeah.
But I also the sponsors were out of control anyway for the whole two nights. Like I've never seen so many matches. Like it's one thing if it's sponsored by Mountain Dew Black and then the rest of the show, whatever. But when it's like every other match, like dude wipes, Skittles, Snickers, like yeah, Fruit Loops, Fruity Pebbles, like it's just just I know on top of that you've got Prime, which is kind of like the main brand throughout, which I'm not going to complain about because I love Prime. But I'm just sitting there thinking like, yeah, okay, like this is, I get it. I cannot imagine the astronomical amount of money made from sponsorships this weekend.
Yeah.
Obscene. But the match was really fun. What do you think of
Yeah.
it?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, get distracted a bit by I'm sure we'll mention it again, but Michael Cole kept giving us weather forecast. That got really annoying really
I did
quick.
get very tedious very
It's
quickly.
10 degrees Celsius. It's not cold. It's barbecue weather. Fuck off.
I mean, I'm a connoisseur of winter barbecues in minus. Honestly, there are
I
a
could
few
barbecue.
things. There are a few things that excite me more than barbecuing in minus degree weather. It was something I used to do when I was younger. Like when I just lived with my stepdad, I used to have this big old fucking patio, and like in the winter, the boys would come around. It'd be like -2. The frost would be there, and we just fucking have a barbecue at like 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I was gangster. I loved it. So 10 degrees, yeah, practically fucking tropical, mate. So
I'm
yeah,
in shorts. I don't know what these people are complaining about,
you do,
but
however, live in the Arctic tundra of Canada. To be fair,
well, yeah.
I feel like that is a qualifier for this conversation.
I mean, our days can start at like -2, go up to +15, and go back down to -3, like in one day. It's
It was a
great.
bit much, though, wasn't it? Throughout the whole show,
Oh
Michael Cole,
yeah,
like they
fucking
actually had like those little weather. They had the weather
yeah, like
card in
the
the
little
corner,
graphic. It's
and
like,
I'm like, who cares? Everyone's watching on TV. The only people that's relevant to are in the stadium, and they're not seeing that. They just know it. I mean, Tanvir was there. He said it was fucking freezing. Tanvir
he's a
is,
bitch.
to be fair, well, he is also of Indian descent, and you are not getting that weather in Calcutta. You,
Well,
like, you're just not.
no, no, all
I
right.
mean, I'm Egyptian, so I should really be like, Jesus Christ, but I'm one of these weird people who loves the cold more than the heat. But yeah, I didn't care. Match itself though, like,
No, it
there was some
was
wrestling.
the last three matches of night one really, really kind of brought me into the moment, brought me into the weekend. Like the opener with Rhea was great. The middle was kind of just fluff. It was there, what cool. But the last three matches really, they got me excited.
Yeah, this kickstarts WrestleMania for me. Um, and then it kind of slows down again afterwards. So, this is really good. And then we get easily, like, I'd be stunned if anyone thinks this isn't match of the night from night one. You especially are gonna blow. Do you know what? I'll just let you take the lead. Your boy, your boy, Sami Zayn
Ah,
dethrones Gunter for the Intercontinental Championship in an absolute worldie, as close to
oh,
a 5 star as you'll get. Brilliant.
Gunter makes everyone look so good. He is they kept calling Rock the final boss. Like, we'll get into it with his entrance in the main event, but if you have to call yourself the final boss, it doesn't inspire awe. It doesn't make you feel afraid. When I Sammy came out first, he had a talk with his wife and son and before that was beautiful. He's walking through Gorilla. Kevin Owens is there to hype him up, slap him around a little, which oh my
Lovely
God,
moment. Yeah, that
I
was
love
beautiful.
that. That is best friend goals right there, is what that is. And then Sammy comes out, he's hype as all shit, and then Gunter's music hits, and Sammy's face just he's like, fuck, I have to deal with this guy for the next I don't know how long the match was because it flew by, like probably 15, 17 minutes.
15 and a half minutes,
Okay.
which is actually relatively short for a Gunter match of this quality. Like
Yeah.
it felt longer, weirdly enough, but it felt just right.
Well, it probably felt longer because for about 5 minutes, Gunter was shit talking Sammy's wife, power bombed him, I think, 4 or 5 times, hit him with 3 or 4 splashes, and he just like he murdered a man.
Yeah, not success. If I have to nitpick, so interestingly enough, I spoke to Roger Sears today. He feels the emotion in the match was forced, which is interesting from a guy who was obviously very intelligent and understands the business. It was obviously just his opinion. He said that the match was great and he loved the match, but he felt that the emotion behind Sammy was forced. The one critique I would have, which would stop me giving it, say, 5 stars, is the fact that it was a little overkill with like Gunter should be able to dispatch anyone with the amount of shit he gave Sammy. It's this thing that WWE does this a lot. We saw this actually with the opener on night two, where it's that thing of right, we know we're gonna dethrone somebody and have a new champion. Cool, make it like by the skin of their teeth, but they don't, do they? They just absorb so much punishment
Yeah.
to an obscene amount. And it was that thing of like, I'm sorry, but I've seen Gunter put much tougher guys than Sami Zayn, on paper, obviously, like
Mhm.
not in real life. He's beaten, pretty much everyone. Ricochet, Rey Mysterio, Riddle, fucking, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus didn't take nearly that much abuse to stay down. So it's that thing of like, I get it, and I love the heart and desire. I personally didn't think it was forced. I thought the emotion was excellent. Um, I still would have loved to have seen Gunter chop his son. I think that would have truly been spectacular if he just fucking waffled him like 20 feet into the third row. Uh, but it's that thing of I mean, it's hands down the match of the night. It's a
Hmm.
big deal. I will always cherish your giddiness for the next hour or so, where you were just constantly humming away Sammy's
Oh
tune as
yeah,
well.
the main event was on. I was just like, "Bing, bing, 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 bing."
Yeah, he's just so happy. Like you couldn't take his smile away. Not
I
like
am
Shawn Michaels. Brilliant stuff.
like, I know that the core of wrestling is suspending your disbelief. I've been watching wrestling for, like 20, probably 21 years now, 20 plus years. I'll be 33 next week, so, a long fucking time. Jesus Christ. But
He's young'uns, honestly.
fucking kids. But I didn't think Same was going to win. If I had to put money on it, I would have said Gunter. And
That was a clean sweep. That was the only clean sweep really for predictions, other than a bloodline, obviously for night one.
yeah,
That was the only clean sweep I think of all of our predictions for both nights.
yeah, I've never been so happy to be wrong because, I think they said Gunter 666 days, which I think is hilarious. He
Is
was
that
just,
really what it
yeah,
was?
it's 666 days.
Ah, the
Triple
devil's
Triple H,
touch.
he's a smart guy. He's my fucking hero. He opened the show, by the way, and I was all really excited
Yeah,
to
he
see
did.
that.
That was quite cool, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah.
His nose has gotten bigger. I swear down. All the coke, all the coke for that guy. Amazing.
But just, and before this, we saw, Chad Gable giving Sammy a little encouragement again as well. And it's like, you coming? He's like, no, man, you gotta go and do this by yourself. And then he did. And this moment felt either just short or equal to winning the tag titles last year. This is 2 years in a row. Sami Zayn has won a title at WrestleMania, which is fucking awesome. I was ready to give up on him, but probably about 4 years ago. Remember when he was like hanging out with Nakamura and Cesaro, just doing jack shit.
Being
But
like the Che Guevara rip-off manager for them,
yeah,
yeah.
and then you know, he started trying to get into the bloodline, which at the beginning I'm like, this is kind of dumb.
It was shit, wasn't it? For like the
Yeah,
first
at the
couple of months,
start,
we were like, "This is crap," and
and
then
then
it became the
it
greatest storyline of all time.
the best story I've ever seen? Question mark.
I would argue that it is up there as one of the best long-term storytelling mechanisms in wrestling
Uh,
history. Yeah,
Apart from maybe the main event of night two, which we'll get into, but
worth the wait.
I I am so invested in everything Sami Zayn does. Part of it, sure, he's Canadian, I'm Canadian, I love the man, but they've given me reason to care, and it's brilliant.
Sami Zayn is one of the few guys in WWE now who looks like a real human being. Like he doesn't have this perfect body. He's a little bit hairy. Obviously, he's got a big beard and stuff, which I appreciate. Mad respect for that. But he's a little bit hairy. He's got a little bit of body fat, not much. Obviously, he's still in great shape. But he's not a Leviathan. He doesn't look like The Rock. He doesn't look like Roman Reigns or fucking
Even
insert.
Gunter,
Exactly. Everyone's jacked. Everyone's shredded. Look at Ricochet. Fucking, there's nothing of him. It's just abs everywhere. But Sami Zayn looks like a real human. He doesn't he doesn't have the shiniest ring gear either. There's something very working class about him, which makes
yeah,
him inherently relatable to wrestling fans because they can see themselves in Sami Zayn. His wife looks like a good honest wife. She doesn't, she's not a supermodel. Look at Cody's wife. Like she just bounces off the fucking screen at you. Like, she looks like a real loving, caring woman. He's got this beautiful young boy. He looks like the perfect family man. Here's my wife. Here's my kid. Here's my simple life. I'm a simple man, a simple wrestler with a simple life. And yet he's able to create magic, pure magic that not many people can touch. His strongest trait will always be for me his relatability, and that's the same with Kevin Owens. Because again, here's Kevin Owens, got an amazing wife, wonderful kids. He's a zoo enthusiast, and he's this guy with a little bit of a paunch, but he's an amazing athlete, and he looks like an actual fighter. Kevin Owens is the kind of guy I could bump into in a pub. I'm not going to bump into Roman Reigns in the pub. Like you're gonna go down the old fucking Gucci factory to find a guy like that, and even then, good luck. These people don't exist in the real world, whereas Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens do. That's what makes them truly special for me.
their ability just to elicit emotion not just from me, who just loves them both so dearly, but from, you know, catchphrase, but the WWE universe. It is magical, and it is something very few people on this roster or any roster has.
Oh, I mean, there isn't a single person in AEW who can do this. I hate
No,
to take a shot at them. I mean, there was
like
plenty of shots being fired. They're coming across the bow at the moment, aren't they? Like, pew, 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 pew. It's like OK Corral out there right now. Watch your fucking get your head down if you're a wrestler in one of these companies. Christ. Um, but yeah, like the reason we're probably talking about this a lot more than others is because it was hands down, the highlight of the night. Interesting, it was the penultimate matchup right before this humongous megastar tag team match that they're billing as the biggest tag team match in WrestleMania history, which it probably was really, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Like, but yeah, anything you want to say? Like, do you want to like sing the Canadian national anthem before we get to the main event? Or
no, we got things to talk about. I can contain myself, but I'm I'm just excited to see the kind of match. Sammy's the perfect guy to have the workhorse title, you know?
I
He's gonna
believe
put on incredible matches for the next, like, hopefully months and
2 weeks.
months. Uh, can you imagine?
Yeah,
Chad Gable
so
heel turn, baby.
that's literally what I reckon is going to happen. Chad Gable's going to turn heel on him. He's going to say, "It was me who gave you all the tools to win, and you don't even want to say thank you to me by giving me a title shot, so I'm going to take it from you." And could be a fantastic storyline. I want Chad Gable to be 2000 Kurt Angle. I'm desperate for this. I think he's ready to be in that role and be
Yeah,
the next guy with the three eyes. If anyone hasn't seen it or they're younger or whatever, go and watch on the WWE Network, WWF 2000 with Kurt Angle. It is something to, and you can see the parallels, the similarities, the way they talk, the way they behave, the way they wrestle. Like it's the perfect time to unleash the Gable. It is time. Because yeah, let's be honest, the Alpha Academy is kind of fallen on its ass thanks to the Maxine Dupree shit. Um,
yeah.
Now, speaking of something that just wouldn't fall on his ass. It just wouldn't end. The main event was the Bloodline, The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. Pretty, pretty mind blowing on paper. It was 45 minutes long, not including entrances, which took about 17 minutes.
Oh,
I think all in all, from the start of the very entrance to the end of the show, it was an hour and 17 minutes. Um, this was long,
it felt like
real long. It dragged. So apparently, this is the second longest match in WrestleMania history after the Iron Man match between Bray and Shawn, or at least the second longest main event. It might be second outright. It was long as fuck. But that being said, I did think it was good. Do you think it met the hype of what it got?
do you remember how well Orton and Edge got hyped as the best wrestling match ever?
That
N-
went long as well. That must have been close to this one.
No, like, I think the conclusion of the match was the easiest thing to predict on the show.
Yeah. Well, that's. Do you think because it was so predictable, they should have fucking got to the point much quicker? Because this show, by the way, went much longer than night two did.
Like, how much longer?
Well, like night two finishes about half an hour to 45 minutes before night one does, if you put them next to
Jesus.
each other. Um,
Yeah,
and also night two had about, a very emotional and incredible like 20 odd minutes of filler at the end, like which was lovely to
yeah.
be fair. I'm not going to complain about that. But yeah, this so the I'm going to look at this from a positive aspect. The Rock looked great and worked great. Remember when he came back in John Cena and he sucked dick?
Yeah.
He was so roided out he couldn't move. His matches with CM Punk weren't great either. This is probably the best match he's had since he retired from full-time wrestling.
Which is like 20 years ago at this point.
Yeah, like I think the last great match I saw him have was 2004 when Rock and Sock took on Evolution. That's the last
Yeah.
time where I thought that's a great high-end match from The Rock. That's The Rock that I love and know. This was the closest approximation For me, his run has been damn near perfection since he turned heel. Like absolutely perfect. The promos have been spot on. The moments have been magical. No one's going to forget him battering Cody in the rain. That's going to be remembered for
No,
a long time.
I think I've said this to you at least 3 or 4 times now. The rain that night was a fucking paid actor, man. It made that scene look so much better.
And it's real as well. You'd
Yeah,
be forgiven when you watch it. It feels like something out of Sin City, like a Hollywood movie. It's almost too surreal, but it's real rain, and that's what makes it, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, like I thought there were a lot of positives in this match in the sense of, Rock was fantastic. I thought Seth Rollins came across actually. I thought Seth Rollins would get really quickly lost in translation because he's kind of like just
Yeah.
the added guy. And he actually was really good at being the shithouse and winding up the Rock and things like that. But like I say, it's 44 and a half minutes. It's way too long.
Oh, you could
I
cut 15 minutes off that and it'd still be too long.
Yeah, there were probably three or four different moments where you thought we're building to a good crescendo here. Let's call it a day. And then they didn't, and they carried on going, and you thought, come the fuck on. Like, because the thing is, like you say, it was so freaking obvious the Bloodline were going to win. Because obviously, if they win, then it's Bloodline rules, which turned out to be the greatest thing of all time
Oh,
for a lot of
whew.
people. Like, good choice. But it was that thing of like, we know we're getting to that, so get to it quicker, so that people aren't as get. It was almost like, hey, we're only going to get one match out of the Rock, so let's get us bleed him dry,
Yeah.
and that's what they did. Was there anything that stood out to you? Like, did you enjoy the Rock's performance, for instance? Like
Um,
it
I
was
liked the
interesting to see Roman Reigns do it. Roman Reigns did a lot of work in this match, by the way.
well, I mean, he had to because Rock, they, even though, he's probably been training for 12 weeks or whatever it was, like, he is still Hollywood first. So Roman's going to have to do, even if it was only like a, 60-40 split, Roman's going to have to do the majority of the work because The Rock's body is essentially too expensive to break.
Yep, even more
But
so now.
yeah, coming out with like the People's Championship belt, I thought that was pretty cool. The Brahma Bull and fire at the top of the ramp for his entrance, I thought was pretty cool.
the
Final boss
the
graphic a little too
gangrel
much.
bull. I see.
Yeah.
I like that because it was very kind of like it reminded me of like the final battle on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video games and things like that. I was
Well,
like,
it reminded me a lot of Scott Pilgrim versus the World as well.
I haven't seen that, so I
Oh, it's
still
very
yet to
fun.
see it.
People who have seen it, you'll get it. But I thought The Rock was really good. The Rock was talking shit to Cody's mom a bunch.
Lots. By the way, The Rock's propensity for cursing since he's come back has been hilarious.
Oh, where's The Rock's swear jar, bro? He's definitely got one next to, like, in gorilla position. He just drops $1,000 and goes,
I
"Okay,
was
guys,
gonna
I'm heading
say
out."
his swear jar, mate. Like if he handed it over to you right now, you'd have no problem getting over it for Clash of the Castle. Jesus Christ, he's just been unhinged. Like fuck this, fuck that. It's kind of
I'm
funny actually.
not here to
It's
fuck around.
entertaining. I'm hoping that yeah, exactly. I'm hoping somebody's gonna like splice it all together because it's just madness. I wish they had the uncensored versions, like an 18 plus thing that you could watch.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like apparently TKO and Endeavor and that they've sort of insinuated, haven't they? They've insisted, look, we're going to stay PG. We want it to be PG, not much blood. We don't want swearing. The Rock's just come in and done all the shit. He's like, well, I'm getting paid 17 million a year. Fuck you. So I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I please. What are you going to do? Fine me? Suck my dick. And he's just fucking. I actually love him in this unhinged maniac narcissist role, which is what brought him to the dance. What did we love about him originally when he became this piece of shit, Weatherspoon's carpet wearing motherfucker? And this is
Oh,
exactly what's happened
Hollywood
again.
Rock is the best. Like when he first kind of debuted this theme in 2003 when he came back, it was incredible.
Yeah, the entrance with the
Just
helicopter
like the
lights, like the
yeah,
skyline, is
and just like the
cooking.
slow it's very methodical. It's very slow for a reason. And then
I
he just
personally think this is easily his best look and best run since he initially retired. His first big retirement, like in what, 2003, 2002,
yeah.
2003, kind
I
of.
I could
Yeah.
also almost enjoy this more than when he was here full time because
Yeah.
everything here hit. Everything he did hit. Like the WrestleMania conference, like having like the NOI family tree. That was really fucking cool as someone who likes history in general and just see the lineage.
Well, that's
That
when
was really
everything
cool.
changed, isn't it? That slap
Yeah,
is when it all changed, where we went
yeah.
from, okay, fuck you, we don't want you, we want Cody, to, okay, we want Cody, but now all of a sudden you're the vehicle. You're the evil vehicle. And also, I say, The Rock carried Roman Reigns for a lot of the promo stuff and that. Roman Reigns was really almost muted quite a bit throughout
Yeah,
this whole rivalry. I felt
yeah.
like like when he was against Lesnar, for instance, he took charge of that shit. You know, remember that promo where he goes, "This cameraman is it's all belongs to me," and you thought, "Wow, Roman Reigns exploding out of his shell, looking every bit the man." And he's kind of receded a bit in favor of The Rock, which I'm hoping is going to be the story that's going to be told later down the line. It's like you came in and took over, everything was gravy until your fucking dumbass came in, and then we have this collision of the Samoan giants, which is it's
That
going to happen.
I could see that SummerSlam.
I mean, that is like talk about a selling point for SummerSlam. You'll sell all your tickets based solely off of that match. Yeah,
Yeah,
phenomenal.
it ends with the Bloodline winning, which again, the most obvious result on the card.
Yeah,
Got to build that adversity for Cody because he needs the help.
he needed a
But
lot of help in night two, apparently. Like
but
unload the legend.
we got it. Rock got the pinfall, which I thought was very interesting.
I like the fact that Cody ate the pinfall as well, which again built that barrier
The,
of like expectancy. It
yeah,
was brilliantly done.
the
Yeah,
the sympathy was there because it was another view of when Cody lost last year. He's sitting in the middle of the ring and you can see the bloodline in the back corner. They did the same shot.
yeah,
It
yeah.
still hits the same way.
It's beautiful, isn't it? He's just sat there like despondent, like fuck. And
Well,
it's that thing.
shit.
And the commentary team, to their credit, did a really, especially Mark Cole, did a really good job of saying, how's he going to overcome this? How the hell is he supposed to overcome? You can't overcome this. There is no way to unlock the bloodline. They're unstoppable.
I thought
Obviously,
Michael Cole was brilliant this weekend.
yeah, he was. He was excellent. The only time he became insufferable was when he was giving me weather updates, or when
Yes,
he started talking about the guy's outfit and came across as just an
that's a little
like,
weird.
listen, mate, like with all due respect, I'm just some fat guy who fucking wrestles in the indie scene for a living. Like, nobody cares what I think, but if you're on live TV to millions of people around the world, making scene comments about her outfit doesn't go down that well.
No,
It's just
it's a little weird, but
is
night one was
in
it
the
was
books.
it was 3.5 4-star show. I thought it was really really good.
I thought it was like
Three.
I thought it was 2.5. It was bang average. I thought it
I,
was. Do you know what?
I
If
I'm looking
night
at the
two had
back
been the
half.
same, probably I would have said one of the lesser WrestleManias of the past few
Yeah,
years.
I guess I'm focusing on the back half because the back half was really really good. It started strong, lull in the middle. It came maybe a 3, maybe just a 3. Like it was a bang average show.
Yeah, I yeah, it lacked the punch, and I think if we hadn't had Sami Zayn and Gunter, I think the main event would have struggled even more because there just was no energy going into it.
Yeah,
The main event, it's a case of there are positives. Rhea Ripley retaining is awesome. I thought the women overall actually smashed it. I thought the women really looked very impressive throughout WrestleMania. Uh, I obviously Sami Zayn and Gunter's amazing. But then I'm looking at some of these the Mexicans. It was a fine match, but I don't care. Jimmy and Jay was one of the biggest letdowns ever in singles history for me. The six-pack tag team match I thought was fucking shit for the most part, just a load of crap spots. And the main event, although good, dragged, dragged, man.
as a match that was only used as a vehicle to direct us to the main event of night two, it took too long. We we knew how it was going to start and how it was going to end. Just bring it, right? Like Raw
Oh, I
2002,
see what
bring
you've
it.
done there. See what you've
Yeah,
done there. Very clever.
I
Yeah,
I
so that
didn't
was very good. Yeah,
I didn't need everything that we got, but what we got was fine. They could have just shaved some time off it.
yeah,
A
absolutely.
lot of time, most of
Now,
the time.
now speaking of shaving time, this is where yeah, this is where night two comes into effect. So night two obviously has just gone down. It finished about an hour ago. Um, we open up with the World Heavyweight Championship. a very strong opener, much like night one, much stronger in many ways. Drew McIntyre versus Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. An excellent match with two glaring issues for me. Dare you hazard a guess at my two glaring issues of this match?
Bucket bagpipes, man. I swear to God.
I have no problem. Also, do you know what? I'm surprised a lot of people didn't pick up on it. He came out of Roddy Piper's entrance thing at the beginning.
I know one of them because we talked about it a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the devaluing of the Claymore,
Yes, and the other one is by far and away the person
CM
I
Punk.
thought, which I thought was going to add. I thought this will add something to it. I thought CM Punk was the drizzling fucking shits on commentary. He wasn't funny. He wasn't entertaining. He wasn't making funny quips or anything. He was just a dick. All he was doing was just essentially shoot burying things. It was disappointing. So Drew McIntyre beat Seth freaking Rollins, right? And like you say, he took four claymores. No, too many, way too many. Especially coming from a guy who's what 6'8", 300 pounds,
And the other
Scottish
guy
missile.
and the other guy had a match the night before and got the shit kicked
Exactly.
out of him.
Yeah, so like the storyline was clearly evident of, oh, his knee's still fucked from last night. He's covered in tape. He's a battered man. He's battered. He's bruised. And Drew McIntyre needed four claymores to overcome him. Like, really? Let's fuck off. And then you've got CM Punk being ho ho hoy dickhead on, and I'm
Oh,
like,
today.
yeah, and I'm just yeah, but I'm also sitting there thinking, motherfucker, like build. Why am I supposed to care then? If they're shit, according to you, then why is anyone supposed to give a shit who wins this belt? And then
And
all hell breaks loose after this. But I really liked the match. I thought that I was surprised at how fast paced it was, considering I thought Seth Rollins is going to come out and this is going to drag and they're going to take
yeah,
forever because Seth Rollins is injured from last time. But and actually, no. By the way, shout out to the entrances. Like, what the? Like, they were mad, absolutely mad.
yeah. I think like as someone not in the wrestling sphere, apart from this and talking to all you guys, a commentator is supposed to add to the match. He or she's supposed to
I do know a little
put
something
yeah,
about it. Yeah.
supposed to put the competitors over, put the match over, put the stakes over. Just make it make us care by
Tell
sounding like
me
you
the
do.
story.
And
Tell me the story.
all Punk did was, yeah, I'm hurt, but I can still beat them both up because they suck.
How many times did he call him a goof? I was like, that's like the Rock's running around saying, "I'm the fucking final boss. I'll fuck you up. I'll fucking kill you." And then CM Punk's like, "You're a fucking dork."
Man, I heard Pat McAfee say shit like 8 times on night two.
Yeah, McAfee just like he was like, "Yo, I make my money from the podcast. Fuck you." It's quite funny. Um, Disappointed that Wade Barrett didn't get a single look in again. I don't know what this is. Like, first of all, Wade Barrett is the color commentator on, I believe, SmackDown
Yeah,
alongside Corey
it's him and
Graves.
Graves. Yeah,
So it's that thing of like, you really like. So they had him on Stand and Deliver instead, and shock horror, he smashed it. While Booker T is just insufferably bad on there. By the way, shit, he's that's.
shucky ducky quack quack.
Oh, look at Roxanne Perez. I was just like, shut up, mate. Weird, but yeah, like so. Obviously, Drew McIntyre wins, and then there's an obnoxious amount of time where he is giving out to CM Punk, and CM Punk's like,
He's like,
focus on me, fuck
yeah,
you.
Drew's like crouched on the table. He's like, hey, cameraman, come get a view of this.
Yeah, like it was quite funny. I actually quite like how I almost felt like it was semi-shoot because he was really in his face and he was making
Yeah,
it feel quite visceral. And then, of course, Damian Priest music hits. It's cash in time, baby. But after CM Punk has swept Drew McIntyre's legs out, so he's hit the fucking desk, and then he's, taking his brace off and he's getting ready to hit him and blah blah blah. So Damian Priest comes down, cashes in, wins the World Heavyweight title in 9 seconds after he's blasted him with a briefcase. Now, that's all. I like that as a moment. Thought it was quite cool. Also, yeah, it's. I think it would have been ever so slightly better storytelling if you cashed in on Rollins, because it was that thing of like Rollins is the only guy who cashed in at Mania,
yeah.
WrestleMania 31, and it would have been like here it comes all full circle. But still pretty cool. The problem with this is, so imagine you've never watched wrestling before, right? And this is your first WrestleMania, and you've been told this is what wrestling's about. So you've got an understanding of what wrestling is. And you come out and you sit down and you watch this. So you see this big, handsome Scottish motherfucker in this fight with this dirty looking, greasy reprobate who wears ludicrously over the top suits. And you've got this obnoxious prick at ringside from Chicago giving it large. And then, so this guy, you're told that this is this magical moment. He finally gets his moment, winning a big title in front of an audience. He wins it. And then he gets stitched up by this leery little prick in the suit ringside. And then some giant Mexican Puerto Rican guy, whatever, your estimation of him is, he's obviously Puerto Rican. He comes down and smashes him in the head with a briefcase. At what point am I supposed to believe Drew McIntyre is the bad guy here?
Oh, the crowd popped hard when Drew won. And then you see Seth going up the ramp. He's like, yeah, man, you fucking deserve it. I'm like, well, okay, cool. And then, yeah, he's give it to Punk. Then Damian Priest cashes in. Drew is arguably the second biggest babyface in the company right now because everyone was super stoked for the win. Priest cashes in. Drew's just sitting there looking all sad. Do you know how hard it is to make a big, strong, handsome Scottish man look sad? You
While
fucking done
CM
it.
Punk is laughing his ass off, and I'm thinking,
Oh, like a fucking child.
if you run this back in Glasgow, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, which they could potentially, I reckon the crowd will be all over Punk. They'll boo him out of the building. Like they will. Like obviously he's going to have home field advantage, Drew. The only thing that makes me kind of think, oh, okay, I don't get too sad about this is because I feel like they are building to Drew getting the big win in Glasgow. That's more important to them. Um, if you're Drew McIntyre, would you prefer to have the WrestleMania moment or the moment in front of your hometown? Because it is quite a big deal to have a pay-per-view in Glasgow in your
Yeah.
hometown.
I mean, it's hard because Drew's first Mania moment was in an empty performance center. He had the big, but in the Rumble of 2020, when he eliminated Lesnar, that was fucking huge.
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ricochet kicked him in the dick, then Drew kicked him in the head. Loved every second of it. And then his Mania history after that's been, spotty at best. And now he gets this big
Yep.
win, and Rollins has held that title for, since its inception, if we're not including the history of the
just
past
just
belt.
just under a year, right? About 300 days or
Yeah,
something like that. Like, yeah, it was a decent enough reign. Like, credit to him, he made it a workhorse
yeah,
belt. But problem is, you already got the workhorse belt and the IC title, which Gunther's having better matches with.
yeah. And I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm, I think it will be. I don't know if it'll be bigger than the Mania moment, but it might be more special to Drew personally as a moment if they run it back in Glasgow and he wins it.
They've got a lot of options here as well. I personally thought the dream match would be Drew versus Gunther in this whopping great European, but they're also doing Berlin.
Yeah,
And I feel like, and although Gunther is obviously Austrian, you can't help but obviously the Germans love him anyway because and also he's got Ludwig Kaiser, who is actually German. Axel Dieter Jr. is how he's known in Germany. Um, I feel like that's where you pull the trigger on Gunther's big moment of the year. And Glasgow is Drew's big moment. It makes sense, like
yeah,
France, bit of a difficult one, that one. It's who's
yeah.
stepping
Where's
up for that?
where's Rene Dupree?
That's got to be Kevin Owens, surely, because he can speak French, right? He's Quebecois. He's a
Yeah,
Quebecois.
Quebec French and France French is mildly different.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, at
It's
least from
more.
my
It was
aware.
French colonization, right, of Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
considering I stopped taking French in ninth grade because I didn't care enough.
There you go. Montreal is screaming at you from here, but it's one of those things where I had no idea, but it shouldn't detract from the fact that I actually really like this overall. But like I say, CM Punk took me out in a moment, and
Yeah,
I hated the protective. What happened to protecting finishers? That is, I know it's a dead arm. People are going to say, "Come on, did you see the main event?" Absolutely, holy shit balls, like L1 parade. But it's that thing of like it didn't need to be that way for every match. It was silly. I'm sick and tired of seeing people. Yes, I know it's Mania. Yes, they can. If they kick out of one, it feels fairly special. Kicking out of three, ludicrous. And we're not
Yeah.
talking about the people's elbow. We're talking about a 6'7", 6'8", 300-pound Scottish berserker stuffing his foot through your head as hard as he can, like a missile. But we do have a new champion. Now then, let's talk about obviously the biggest match of WrestleMania's weekend, the Pride versus the Final Test.
I couldn't tell you anything about that match.
Did you not watch it?
Oh no, I watched it, just nothing was memorable.
So obviously this was probably the biggest piss break of the entire weekend. You know, like long gone are the days where women's match would come on and everyone would leave. The women have firmly cemented themselves, and rightfully so. This, on the other hand, so we've got Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford with B Fab as their manager now. They went over the final testament, carrying across Akam and Razor with Scarlett and Paul Ellering at ringside. Stunning that this was Paul Ellering's first WrestleMania. Absolutely mind blowing to me. But what stuns me is the fact that it's fucking terrible. So we had Bully Ray, Bubba Ray Dudley as the ref. We had Snoop Dogg as the commentator, who was admittedly better than CM Punk
Oh,
and
he
more
was high as
entertaining.
shit. He was
Yeah,
high as shit.
this was the biggest problem. He was too high because he's just making handy ass bullshit references throughout this. Have you seen Karrion Kross and Bobby Lashley? These are people that you would not want to meet in the darkest of alleys or the lightest of fucking playgrounds. These
No,
guys
you would
could
die.
kill you.
Yeah.
There was a litany of errors. First of all, um, the Pride, right? Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, they come out separately. Mm-mm, unacceptable. I mean, Karen Cross's group does look quite impressive aesthetically. Um, but they, so my favorite spot in this match, and I'm going to get in so much trouble for this, and it's obviously I'll post it in the rest of our group chat. Is when Bobby Lashley's getting twatted by all the white guys with canes, and it just reminds me of the Minority Suspect sketch in Family Guy, where Cleveland gets battered by that truck, and
Oh,
it's
the
like,
police fan.
yeah, yeah, and it's like Minority Suspect, danger, he's got a gun. Like I almost wanted to splice it over, but I thought I'm going to get in big trouble with it. But it just it felt a little race war, didn't it? Like a little bit race war-y, and
Mm.
then it's like, oh, but don't worry because the white guy who's a ref, he's siding with the black guy, so it's all it's very weird.
Yeah, the
Is it too woke to say that Bubba Ray getting all the black guys to do Devon stuff because Devon wasn't there is slightly racist?
I yeah, I didn't care about this. Like the amount of shit they had to add to this to try and make people care.
What did I say at the beginning of the matchup? Shows how much faith they have in these guys that they've
Yeah,
had to add all this crap. It was sponsored, by the way, by Gin and Juice,
which is I think Snoop's new
new
thing.
cocktail can mixer thing,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm sure they're lovely.
Whoop-de-doo, Basil.
Yeah, we smoke weed around here, Snoop Dogg. Grow up.
Yeah, it
Which, by the way, is legal for Carl Wilkinson, so you can't come at him.
it
Suck my
is.
dick, FDA, or whoever it is who regulates that shit.
It was a mid-card SmackDown match with some bells and whistles.
It felt like like in 2000 when they just have random hardcore title matches, guys twatting each other. That's what it was. There's no good shit about this. The Pride go over, which again was extremely predictable, like extremely predictable. I don't give a fuck if I'm being honest. I thought it was fucking dreadful. Yeah, I didn't like the match at all. Pointless. I should have legitimately got up and had a wank, yeah, instead of wasting my time. LA Knight defeated AJ Styles, and again, extremely predictable. Um, yeah. What did you think about this match? LA Knight versus AJ Styles. We've spoken ad nauseum about how it was an underwhelming opponent for both guys in many ways,
Yeah.
but did the match deliver at all for you?
I mean, AJ's new theme did. That was a banger. Nice to see a bit of change. He's been around for, almost 10 years. Change it. It again, it was fine. Like I love AJ Styles. He's been my favorite wrestler for God years now. And LA Knight is super over. Everyone loves him. I love both these guys, but the match was going along. All of a sudden, Blunt Force Trauma, that was it. It just
Yeah.
ended immediately. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's the finish? Okay, cool, I guess.
My
What are
favorite
the?
spot was the Avalanche German on top row. I was really impressed to see that again. And AJ's in amazing condition. There's nothing wrong with the match. A very
No, it
strong
was.
main event of SmackDown is what it was. Like a
Yeah,
really strong, like, if you were putting together SmackDown's match of the year contenders, this would have been up there. But it just, again, I feel like they've done wrong by LA Knight in having him lose so often in the high profile matches.
yeah.
This was the such a weak connection to get to this. It was like, oh, remember when we were both in that fatal four way and you stitched me up, you piece of crap? And I was like, well, neither of you were really going to do fuck all in that match, were you? Let's be honest, boys. Um, you're all just vehicles, for Roman Reigns to get over because they had nothing else for him to do in the Rumble. So, yeah,
Remember when we were
nobody
both
really
in
gives a shit.
TNA?
And also, the build was a bit stupid of like, I'm going to go to AJ Styles' house and start fighting him like a good guy does.
Have you noticed whenever they do home invasion angles, it's always the face that going to the heels home?
Yeah.
Baby faces in wrestling are the stupidest people in the world.
Baby faces are so no wonder heels are so over for being cool because there's nothing. Do you know what? It's unacceptable behavior, LA Knight. You can't just rock up at AJ Styles' house and upset his. By the way, his wife is lovely, but like, and it's that thing of like, I watched. If I'm a random fan and I've never seen this before, and I'll see footage of this guy rocking up at a guy's house trying to start, I'm like, who's this cunt? Who's this fucking? And also, look at how big and shiny he is. AJ Styles obviously just looks like your average working class American. We're fucking
America.
LA Knight's walking around rich as shit, looking like a fucking, this Adonis. You're thinking, who's this pompous cunt? Obviously, I love LA Knight, but yeah, weird storytelling. A half decent match, but it just felt like meh. And it almost kind of started mirroring night one for me, where I'm like, okay, the opening was great. Then we've had this terrible fucking tag team match. Then we've had this pointless singles match. Then we've got a triple threat match for the United States Championship. Logan Paul successfully retains. Kevin Owens lets down the side, by the way. Nice going, Kev, you twat. And Kevin
Badge.
Owens, Kevin Owens ruined the Canadian warming party. Well, actually, technically, it was Logan Paul who cut everyone's legs off there. But yeah, Logan Paul retained the United States title, which I was a bit surprised by. I thought Randy Orton was going to win. I really did. I had my money down on Randy Orton, not figuratively, of course, but I also thought. By the way, this match went almost 20 minutes, and
Did
I
it? It
thought
didn't
that
feel
was
like it.
17 minutes 40. So you
Well,
give or
yeah.
take. So you're getting towards it. I honestly thought it dragged a bit, and I didn't think it was that good. The only thing that again, and this happens every time I watch him wrestle, I just marvel at how good Logan Paul is at all this athleticism and shit. He's
He,
a
uh,
freak athlete.
he has no right to be as good as he is. It's almost offensive.
It is, but this match was also sponsored by Prime, so therefore 5 stars. Yeah, it was
I mean,
you know,
hey, let's not discount the fact that KO was coming down in a golf cart, and then, and then Orton's music hits, and KO's like, you know what? We've been homies for a while. Goes back up to the ramp, picks him up, brings him down. Orton's having the time of his life.
they're just fucking
Oh,
around. They're
it
not
was very
taking this
funny.
that seriously. Um, it was all right for what it was, but it wasn't spectacular for me. It wasn't special
No,
anyway. Logan Paul wins with a whopping great frog splash, which looked awesome. But yeah, overall, I was like, eh. And we also got some guy called so apparently he's called I Show Speed. That's his name.
yeah, yeah, he's a big streamer. That's all I caught. I didn't catch his name. I just know
Yeah,
he's a streamer.
he was streaming all over the place. The piss pot. Randy Orton hit him with an RKO on the table.
That he took
If
quite well, to be fair.
it felt like a show of, it felt like a match, sorry, of just a few cool spots with some
Yeah,
stuff in between that nobody cares about. Didn't take long for Kevin Owens and Randy Orton to obviously self combust. But yeah, Logan Paul retains, and I thought it was very mid, which is ironic because it was right in the middle of the card. Very mid.
yeah, it was fine for what it was. I wasn't expecting, a 12-star banger in the Tokyo Dome. So
No, no, I wasn't. And to be fair, Orton looked like he was protected a lot because his pace is really slow at this point, which is fine. You've been doing this 20 years. I'm not expecting you to go out there and have indie classics. I like the finish as well, to be fair. The misdirection, the brass knucks was a good callback as well. The prime bottle was fun for what it was. It had everything you wanted from it. It just
yeah,
didn't blow me away.
no,
Uh, the penultimate match of the night, as an Egyptian man, blew my mind because The last time, hazard a guess, Carl Wilkinson, the last time that WWE had a serious Egyptian theme at some major point on a pay-per-view.
It's crazy, but I'd have to say never.
WrestleMania 9. At Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh yeah, they had. I mean, I guess.
They had Cleopatra and Mark Antony
I was
come
like,
out,
does saying camels make me racist?
no, it does not. Not in my book because we're not nearly as sensitive. So fuck the rest of you. By the way, Black Adam, Egyptian superhero played by Samoan, but apparently that was fine. Get your standards right. I'm
Also a
gonna
shit
go on
movie.
about that for. I'm told it is. Yeah, I refuse to watch it out of principle. Also, fuck you, Rock. It's bad enough you're the final boss. Don't be crushing my movie dreams as well, you cunt. Yeah, Bailey came out in Egyptian themed gear with the Egyptian title on it. It blew my mind. Like genuinely, I'm not a huge nationalist for anything, but I'm very proud of my Egyptian heritage. I thought that's fucking incredible. I've never seen anything that well affected. The whole thing was just done super, super, super well. Um, yeah, Carl Wilkinson looks almost offended by the concept, if I'm being honest, but it is
Not
what
at
it
all.
is. Bloody
I,
Canadians, they're
I,
so angry.
I wanted wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. I didn't get him. I was a little sad.
Did you want her to go full back to her full
Oh
face
yeah,
gimmick?
I
And
wanted, I wanted
I'll
it
tell you
all.
what, Izzy can't come out now. I've seen her. She's smashing it. She's like 18, 19 now, and she's like a wrestler. She's like wrestling every week. It's mad.
I knew she got into wrestling. I haven't seen much about it because I don't care
Yeah,
enough.
no.
But
Yeah, someone shared like something on their story the other day as I was scrolling through, and I was like, "Is that fucking?" And I just had a look, and she's having like banger matches as well. Good for that kid. Good for her. Yeah, Bailey defeated Io Sky. It felt predictable that that result was going to come. Do you know what really let me down for this match was actually how little pomp and circumstance Io Sky got. She just came, typical Japanese wrestler, just
yeah,
comes out very businesslike, obviously looking incredible. She always does. And obviously no interference from damage control at any point. This was a straight one-on-one. Bailey gets the win. 14 minutes 20, gets a big moment in the sun. I thought the match was fine, but I didn't think it was that special. Quite stiff in places. Some nice stiff shots for these
oh,
ladies.
oh yeah,
But
you know they've got the respect for each other when you can just lay it in.
their style, though, didn't mesh at all, did it? Have you seen when Io Sky wrestled Bianca Belair, for instance? Banger, because it's these two amazing, hard hitting athletes.
Yeah,
Bailey is very much the ground-based tactician, and
yeah.
Io Sky is not. So yeah, it was a real clash of styles, and it just didn't really work as well as it should have. Fine match, 3.5, maybe four is stretch if you really push. I'd say 3 to 3.5. But the moment is Bailey winning in it. It's a really feel good moment. Not quite as good as the main event, which is next, but
No.
it's a pretty decent feel good moment. And it's nice to see Bailey. This has been one of the better storylines for me building into WrestleMania has been damage control and how they've mistreated Bailey.
It was the right result for sure. It's always nice to see the Rumble winner win the title, even though it should be in the main event, because that's what they always used to say. The Royal
Do
Rumble winner
you
gets the main event.
do you think Bailey and Io Sky should have had night one's main event?
If it wasn't for The Rock, yes.
That's the
Because there's
problem here.
absolutely no way The Rock was going to be in the middle of the show. It was
Can you
not going to
imagine?
happen.
Yeah, I'll open up, mate. So this Japanese girl can have the main. Like,
Yeah, let me just be a curtain jerker so these women can do it.
you know what? It's all very well and good that the internet wrestling community want to have a little whinge from Twitter and say, the fucking Io Sky should have been in the main event. Hey, I would have liked to have seen that. But, newsflash, they ain't drawing even a hundredth for what The Rock
Well,
will.
and the thing is, the penultimate match of a card is usually to try and, let the crowd breathe a bit before all the pomp and circumstance of the main event.
Yeah, they
This
should have
match
had a
didn't
Philadelphia street fight before this, but the problem was that this
this
main
this
event was
match
street
didn't
fight.
flounder in that spot. The crowd was still completely invested in
I'd
Bailey.
just like to point out as well the penultimate match of night one was Sami Zayn and Gunther, wasn't it?
Exactly. And that
Mad, isn't it?
shadowed the main event.
Probably the best pair of penultimate matchups I've seen since two nights of WrestleMania has been happening.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
that's the death spot, right? That's usually, in WrestleMania's past when you'd send the women out back when
yeah.
they didn't
Or
care,
you send out Cesaro versus Kevin Owens in a fucking
yeah,
random 2 out of 3
fucking
falls match.
hard,
Dolph
hardcore
Ziggler.
hardcore title match, European title match, things people don't give a shit about.
Oh, William Regal. Good shit.
But neither of those matches I think were damaged in the spot they were in.
Very good.
If anything, they elevated themselves to almost main event level because of how invested the people were in the challengers. People love Bailey. They love Sami Zayn. Do they love the champions too? Sure, but at this point, they loved the challengers more and wanted to see them win.
People love Sami Zayn, do they?
There was a lot of face wins on this show, wasn't there? Holy
Yeah,
shit!
there was actually. It was very strong. So yeah, Bailey wins the title. Awesome. Which leaves us to talk about the incredible moment that
Jesus
is
fucking Christ!
Cody Rhodes has finished story, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, that means that Brock Lesnar can come back tomorrow night and break him. No, I'm
Oh, he's gonna
joking.
murder him. He's just gonna die.
Yeah, he'll just come out and batter his wife and shit on her in front of him, knowing him. Not a very nice person. Yeah, Cody Rhodes finishes the story against Roman Reigns in a bonkers main event. For 15 minutes, I was like, this is good. I was sitting there thinking, oh, God, these cunts are going to be out for an hour, aren't they? It's going to go on and on. And then all of a sudden, things just start. I'll tell you what,
Oh,
the music
it
man
was
was having a
one after
field
an
day.
it was one after another, wasn't it?
It was literally like a case of like, you guys go out and wrestle for 15, 20 minutes, and then when it arrives, we're gonna back up this truck that has every piece of treasure we could possibly find and to just throw out there. So they're having a good match, good storytelling. Cody Rhodes and I say a better match than night one's main event because it was better paced.
Yeah,
And
easy.
yeah, so which you should expect really because this is the pinnacle of WrestleMania. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. So, of course, Jimmy Uso's first to come out because he's a scrub. He comes through the crowd and attacks Cody and tries to help out. Then Jay Uso's music hits, main event's down, you'll see. Spears Jimmy
Um,
Uso off the stage.
would like to point out, I saw this online. I don't remember who it was, so I'll give them credit if I remember. Their little scuffle there was better than their entire match,
That's not wrong. It's not wrong at all, actually. That's really depressing to say, but
isn't
it's
it?
not wrong.
Like a
Yeah.
45, 60-second burst was better
Where
than
was,
the
yeah, why didn't you fucking have the spear off the stage yesterday? I said to you, there was one point actually I would like to make quickly about that match for night one as we go back slightly. They should have put him inside a steel cage or a Hell in a Cell or something and made it
or
really violent.
yeah, something that warranted what had been building up for the last 18 months.
Yeah. Like, give them the gimmick match. Never mind the ladder match. Give them the gimmick match. The tag team thing didn't need a ladder match, really. Well, it did in retrospect, I guess, but whatever. But yeah, so obviously he spears him off stage. Then, of course, here comes Solo Sikoa, and you're thinking, oh, you fucking shithouse. He's getting involved. So who could possibly stop Solo
I
Sikoa?
popped for this, dude. What am I do?
John Cena just
Oh, I
returned.
popped for that.
Good storytelling because last time he faced Solo Sikoa, right? That was the last
Yeah,
person he
and
faced.
Saudi.
Yeah, exactly. So, he comes down and fucking dispatches him. And then you don't even get a chance to breathe. All of a sudden, of the place to go, fucking my God, there's fucking legends everywhere. Rock comes fucking steamrolling every day. It's like, you motherfucker, you're gonna whip your head. Rock bottoms John Cena. Shades of WrestleMania, what, 28, 27, 28? Good
28 and
shit.
29, I think.
Yeah, like great shit. I love that. It was a really good rock bottom as well, actually.
Well,
Um,
Cena goes like this, throws the hand, Rock just ducks
yeah.
it into the rock bottom. It
Rock's
was pretty
like,
smooth.
nope, not doing any jobs for you tonight, you little cunt. Fuck off.
This is, we can explain what happens next. I'll nitpick it when we're done.
Okay, cool. So, John Cena gets hit with a rock bottom, and then the Rock is kind of like got the Mama Rhodes belt, and here we go, and he's ready to go, and then dong. It's like, are you kidding me? The last, to be honest, did not expect him at all.
No, God, no.
Stunned. Probably the biggest surprise for me of this entire match was him. I was like, what? The Undertaker, who, by the way, looked baller. Um,
You
you know,
done it now.
yeah, it was old Big Ginger was back. So he's enjoying retirement. Let's just say that. But he looked great for his age. He must
Yeah.
be knocking on 60 now.
Oh, easy.
And yeah, and like The Rock sold it beautifully. Like, oh, still like Ducks joke slam. Not the best joke slam if I'm being honest, but whatever.
Better than Hogan at Backlash.
Yeah, well, Jesus, everything, mate. Trust me, like. You could take a
I
bump
could take
from
a
your
better
diet,
bump.
but you can take a better bump just from like taking too much, insulin or whatever. Like it's that bad a fucking thing. Obviously, we don't, want Carl Wilkinson to do that because it's hard enough to lock him down for one podcast a year, much less one every five. But yeah, fucking yeah, Undertaker. What were you gonna nitpick out of this?
Should have been Austin, bro.
Yeah, I was thinking
It
Austin's gonna be the
should have
final guy. Yeah, I
because
thought I
just
waited for the glass.
it would have again it would have gone, full circle because, Cody and Roman have been I don't necessarily want to say like The Rock and Austin, like the intensity has been that level, but they haven't feuded as long. The Rock and Austin pretty much did it for their entire careers.
Do you know what? There was actually someone else I wanted as well, which I'll get onto. Oh, also the Shield music hit,
Yeah, what the
which
fuck?
which was funny because so Big Pop and a little part of me thought, is Mox gonna come down with Seth?
I
I was thinking, because if I reckon the place would have erupted for that. Because that's a big deal with the AEW crossover shit now, and apparently Mox has been missing for a little bit from TV. I was like, oh no, oh here comes
I
Plumber Moxley to fucking deathmatch this shit up.
apparently he's got a match with Naito for the New Japan
That'd be
and
good.
JPW
Naito's
Championship.
great.
Yeah,
We love
yeah, it'll be fine.
Naito, so I'm always happy with that. Good for him. As long as he's happy, whatever, and his wife's hot, so congratulations, mate. Yeah. So what made the Shield bit so funny is that it wasn't a thing. It didn't happen because Roman Reigns just goes, nope, and just punches him in the face. Seth Rollins does nothing, contributes nothing, right? He basically put all his Shield gear on just to get punched in the face. I will say the steel chair shot was a nice touch.
The shot to
A
the
real
back.
nice,
Yep.
yeah, a real nice touch of. So that's ultimately kind of what gets him, isn't it? Is as a distraction. Well, no, it's not because I think the Rock thing happened after that, didn't it? I can't remember.
Um,
Wait, I'm
all
trying
I
to think.
remember is Seth comes down and is immediately put to the ground.
Yeah, it's like Roman just goes, "Nope, you're not doing that, you little prick," and cuts him off. Um,
Yeah, I don't remember the
actually,
exact
no,
order.
sorry. The Shield music hits while the Rock is prepping the hit thingy, innit? And then Roman runs in, distracts
And
him.
then Taker comes out.
Yeah, it's like it's all over the place. Mayhem is breaking loose, and obviously we're still in the emotion of it. But I just thought it was really funny that he put all his gear on and just got fucking
This
battered.
gets yeah. But
And I
I
was like, "What do you want, you little cunt? Fuck it off! Like,
I mean
you're not big enough of a name to get away with that. So you can fucking sit down, you little twat." It was
that's
quite
finally
funny.
10 years of emotion Roman can finally get closure on.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like you got a job finally, mate. So we'll let you have it by beating up seven there. That's like fair enough. Fair enough. I'll take that. Why not? It's like, you know what? You're gonna eat shit here, so you may as well get another lick in.
Yeah.
I thought it was nice storytelling. And then of course Cody Rhodes finally, finally after about 5,000 crossroads, it felt like finally puts this guy down. Um yeah, he just wouldn't stay down when he despite nothing kept him down. Again, I'd like to nitpick it, but the emotion in a moment is so powerful. It might be the most emotional ending to any pay-per-view that WWE's ever done in the history of their company. It's super powerful. However, there's one person I think should have. I feel like if his brother had fucking come down and tried to help him, I think that would have fucking sent the place mad. If
Oh,
Dustin
if
Rhodes had
Dustin
tried to come down here, if Goldust
yeah.
comes down, like like that would have been truly. Obviously, he must be watching this. He probably was backstage. I'd like to think he was. Either way, our fault for the Rhodes family. Cody Rhodes, wins the WWE Universal Championship, which interestingly enough, Michael Cole just says he's WWE champion. I was like,
Yeah.
fair enough, which he is. Um, but it's like, and he won the big one. Not the other one. It wasn't. I feel like the other one is a bit of a consolation prize. It's perfect for Damian Priest, I think, but not for Cody. This was the perfect finish, and he does. He finishes the story, emotions. His mum gets, gives her the belt. His wife's in there, Brandy. Like, should have
All the
known when Brandy was coming out, he was going to win, shouldn't we? We're like, oh, they don't roll out Brandy unless it's for
uh,
something special.
all the faces come out, all the faces kids, I swear to God.
Yeah,
They've got
yeah, I
they've
love
got
it.
Cody up on their shoulders. I the video package at the start has, it talks about how, Cody got frustrated and left and, went to start his own story. They show a picture of him with the Bucks. They show a picture of him, I think at the first All In or All Out or what, I don't care. What one of an AEW event.
Yeah, and one with Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho.
Yeah, which is
Like,
Chris
I
Jericho.
cool, like awesome. But in the moment, you're thinking, they surely they wouldn't green, but they did. I like it was a subtle shot, wasn't it? Though they were like, oh, you can't just run away forever. You got to come back and do it properly in the real place.
Hmm.
It was kind of that was what they were kind of insinuating.
And
And by the
then
way, Tony Khan is probably going to absolutely have a meltdown over this. Like,
the I'm still trying to process what I saw because that I I started weeping happy tears, man. I was so
it was very
again,
powerful.
it's
Yeah.
again the suspension of disbelief is the core of pro wrestling, which by the way, Michael Cole said a lot. He was like, pro wrestling is
Oh,
back.
well,
I
yeah. So
fucking
it was
love professional wrestling.
that is proper like a nod of yo fuck you Vince. There is
Yeah.
no fucking any of this sports entertainment shit. We're pro wrestling. This is what we are. And this is the beginning of the new era, isn't it? The new era begins again. Um, it's one of these things. For Cody, it was wonderful when he brought Bruce Pritchard and Triple H down. Like that was cool, but Bruce Pritchard is a fucking cocksucker by all
Yeah,
accounts. So I was
I
like,
don't
he's looked after Cody so great, but I know for a fact that this guy's been quite detrimental to a lot of wrestling and women's
yeah.
wrestling and things like that. So I was like, yo, fuck that guy. However, he was brother love, and you're in Philadelphia. Like it all kind of came full circle there.
Yeah.
And obviously, Trips, a very beautiful moment. You could see that there was a lot of words exchanged. It'd be interesting to see what was said, but
I
obviously,
I
yes,
cannot give enough love and respect to Triple H for what he's done. He
yeah. Do you know
like
what? I questioned that when he first. I thought, what's really going to change if Vince McMahon said? However, that was the game changer when Vince was outed and finally removed. And if you noticed how Stephanie, like for instance, we never see Stephanie anymore. She has openly sort of made it very clear I'm not going to be around this company if my father's there. And now that he's gone, it is very much a case of yo, Triple H that is he's in charge. He's fucking in charge of this, and it shows in the way that it was presented. He gets this. He really does get this.
like I the next 5 to 10 years will tell a lot. I would not be surprised if the name McMahon gets lost in the annals of history. It will never be forgotten. People will
No, you
still
can't, can you?
remember. It would be impossible, right? But at the same time, they go, yeah, this happened here. Some shit came up, and then all of a sudden, there was just this massive turn of the tide, and all of a sudden, professional wrestling was cool again.
Yeah, and with good reason. He has done a magnificent job. Um, is this the greatest main event in WrestleMania history?
It might be recency bias, but it's hard to say no.
It's not the best wrestling match.
No.
And I think that's what stops it for me. Now, is it the most star-studded? Absolutely. It's bonkers. Uh, but the funny thing is, yeah, I popped for everybody. It was great, but like, it's also that thing of like, yeah, it was only half an hour long, by the way, which was perfect. Any
Yeah.
longer, and I was like, nope. It was a much shorter night overall, which I felt was better. I think that's smarter as well because most people have to go to work on a fucking Monday, so it's just like wrap it up. I will say, shout. We haven't mentioned them. Obviously, Tanvir and Cam were both there. I can't wait to hear how it must have felt to be a part of
Yeah.
that live. Congratulations, boys! You basically were there for probably what might be regarded as the most important moment in wrestling history for a lot of people. I feel like we're going to look back at this in 20, 30 years' time and treat it like Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. That moment that Cody Rhodes finished the story.
Yep.
We're gonna treat that like Brett winning his first title, whatever it might be, whatever you see as the boyhood dream has come true. All these things. This is the WrestleMania moment for probably arguably. I mean, getting like you say recency bias. You need to calm down, don't you? Once the emotion sells, I'm
Yeah.
really buzzed for Raw tonight.
Like, is this comparable to, Daniel Bryan at 30?
I think this eclipses it easily.
I know it's a lot of people's fucking marks. A lot. It's people love that.
I never
Um,
really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the journey to it more than the
mhm.
actual moment, I think.
Like people will probably frown on me for this. I remember being incredibly excited for Benoit at 20. I know all the shit he did.
I
Don't
do
I
believe
don't
it was
need to get
just
into
a,
that.
I think it was just singles match between Triple H and Shawn Michaels, mate.
I was super excited for that.
The Rabbit Wolverine.
Well, seeing him and Eddie like embrace like that, it
That's a
still gets
powerful
me.
moment. Yeah, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
powerful moment.
it still gets
Um,
me.
yeah.
But having, I'm not sure I've ever been so invested in a human being as I have been in Cody Rhodes the last 2 years.
Was it worth him losing last year in retrospect, now that we've seen what we've seen tonight? Because there was a lot of fallout over that and people saying
Yeah,
they made a mistake.
I
Um,
was very upset last year.
I I was one of those people who said let it cook, let it run
Yep,
again.
I was
I was
very
quite happy
upset.
because I'm quite patient. I'm getting as an older man, I'm learning. Obviously, I'm very blessed. I work in wrestling full time, so for me, I'm like, I see a lot of long term storytelling. Nothing to this extent, obviously, but I'm much more appreciative and patient of the art now than I was when I was just a fan who was just shitting on it 7 or 8 years ago as a podcaster. Um, and I feel like it was so worth it for this moment.
Easy.
Like, so
Yeah,
worth it. And
I
yeah,
I think the short term gratification we would have got last year, it would have faded, and who knows, it probably would have faded within months, and people could have turned on Cody, just like they did in AEW. They just turned on him because he was just, he'd get the shit kicked out of him, he'd lose the matches leading up and win the big one later. Now they kept me invested since last year's Mania. There were some filler feuds in there that seemed weird. The one with Lesnar came out of nowhere. That
yeah,
was that was weird. He won tag titles with Jay for like 3 weeks. Cool. And then, when Punk came back, I'm like, fuck, he's gonna win the Rumble. Cody's not.
they did
Something
struggle
different's
to
gonna
fill the
happen.
gap a little bit, didn't they? Like,
Oh, yo, yeah. The fucking feud with Nakamura. What?
yeah, with the bull
Why?
rope match, like,
Yeah.
it was almost like Cody's the most over face we have. Let's try and get a bit, try and give these guys a rub. I think was the whole point of it. Didn't work. By the way, Nakamura not to be seen anywhere near this weekend. Like, ain't good. Good. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say it. Good. Um,
We've been
yeah,
on the
it was.
Nakamura hasn't been good in WWE since NXT, so
Yeah,
everyone knows that.
yeah. Everyone knows. Not since his debut. I think he's had one great match, and that was his debut. Um, unless everyone likes the dick kicking match. But
He had
yeah,
a
like,
randomly good match with Cena once.
uh, yeah, fair enough. I don't remember it, to be
I
honest. I
think
have
it
to go
was
back and
I
watch
think
it.
it was on SmackDown to determine the challenger for Jinder Mahal back in
Okay.
2017, I think.
Nobody should be allowed to challenge the mighty Jinder Mahal. Anyway, yeah, no Jinder at WrestleMania, so obviously 3 stars. This was
-4
fucking.
Jinders.
This main event was like the talk about the defining cherry on top of the cake. Ludicrous. Like perfection. And my timeline, I literally after it, because obviously I was trying to sleep and then I thought, oh fuck it, I'll finish this off because I'm in pain and I can't sleep. And I went on Facebook and it is just a myriad of people. Uh, RJ Singh, for instance, right? One of the biggest and coolest names in British wrestling for so long. He has been in our business 20 years, greatest WrestleMania main event ever. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. Aiden, my mate, our boy Aiden. I'm so tired. WrestleMania has actually knocked me for six, but incredible. My mate Adam Mansfield's there. Like, there's so many people just like, fucking Troy Grant, pro fucking wrestling. That's all he wrote. Yeah, that's just so many people gushing over this astonishing moment.
Um,
Yeah,
there's one more thing I'd like to point out. Samantha Irvin is the best. When
yeah,
she was
she
trying to
is.
announce Cody, her voice was breaking. Like the
Yeah,
genuine emotion. That's incredible work. She was incredible all weekend.
yeah, she's pretty special. Too special for Ricochet, I'll tell you that. No, I'm joking. I, she's just, it's amazing, isn't it? I feel like no one ever replaced Howard Finkel as the voice. I feel like she's the next biggest voice after him. I feel like she's the voice of this generation now. And I think it's certainly helped by the fact that WWE are very smart at marketing her, aren't they? They always put reels up of her and stuff and go, look at the energy. But she lives and breathes every moment. Like it
It's
is
beautiful.
truly special. Yeah, no, it is beautiful. And it's something again, I work in professional wrestling. I do a lot of MCing and I really like doing MCing. I feel like I'm good at it, but I'm not a patch on that. She's fucking phenomenal. Like it's truly special. And obviously, people are going to want to look at her a lot more than they are me, and understandably so. She is scintillating. Again, fuck off, Ricochet. But it's that thing of all of this amounts perfectly to that final image of him with his mum and with everyone lifting him up on his shoulder. Sammy and Randy Orton, I noticed, were the guys who were constantly putting
Which is
him on
funny because there
shoulders.
is such a height difference.
Bit weird, isn't it? Like
Sammy's not a tall guy.
I was like, "Oi, Kevin Owens, you lazy shitbag! You're quite stocky. You get in there and take the lift." Even Seth Rollins was kind of like, he shook his ass. I was like, Seth's like limping off in his shield gear, like, "Yeah, I did my part. No, you didn't. You did fuck all, you prick."
Hey, he was his
Nothing.
shield, man.
He literally was the shield to the human shield. That's what he was. Like he just got battered. It was so funny. Um, there's always going to be a funny highlight, even in the most incredible moments, and that will always be for me him just getting leveled immediately. Nope, absolutely not. Get in the bin. Amazing, amazing finish. I will say this as a realist. I didn't think this WrestleMania was all that. I think it had some pretty awesome moments, but it had way too much. There was too much shit in the middle of each card that I felt just didn't need to be there or let us down massively like the Usos. But in terms of finishing, uh, probably the most powerful pair of main events you'll get in the 2 day WrestleMania era. Very, very, very special. Although the first one dragged like crazy. The second night, it is truly one of the all-time greatest main events and moments in wrestling history. Never mind WrestleMania.
It was.
But nothing will beat the inaugural brawl from Invasion 2001.
I don't know, man. December to Dismember's got just a special place in my heart, you know?
Oh, it's that fucking awful elimination chamber for that ECW. Oh,
You mean
that's
the
a
event where they only had 2 matches announced?
yeah. And then they had to just fill the gap with Balls Mahoney and Matt. Oh, Jesus. I like how people were like, "Oh yeah, magical moment," and then we're like, "Yeah, but do you remember the ECW elimination chamber?" I mean, it's the perfect time to talk about it. We are in Philly after all. But yeah, that's WrestleMania 40. Anything you want to wrap it up with, mate? Any last minute thoughts or opinions you want to throw in there?
It is always better to watch wrestling with your homies.
Yeah, yeah, it was yeah. Uh, night one especially, we had a right little motley crew of idiots. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
poor Steve. I was fucking barely awake by the main event. Poor
it's
guy.
funny, isn't it? I've done so much in wrestling, and hopefully I'll still do a lot more. But I've never been to WrestleMania, and I really need to resolve that quickly. 40 was the one I actually wanted to do. It's just the money at the end of the day. Our boy Tanvir dropped 5 grand on his WrestleMania weekend.
Oh my God.
Mad, isn't it? Like, so good for him, man, and him and his brother. I wish obviously Tanvir and his brother well. Have fun in Chicago because those guys after Raw are going to Chicago for a week. So eat
Jesus.
all the deep dish. Beautiful. Cameron Anderson, I believe, will be back before that, which would be nice. Be very interesting. Obviously, Cameron he's going to Raw as well, and I think they're flying back on Tuesday. So yeah, he'll be back very, very soon. Raw's tonight. I'm looking forward to that. Raw after Mania is always quite special. And
Yeah.
boy, is it! I reckon we're gonna have all sorts of crazy shit going on tonight. So yeah, Raw in Philadelphia should be very, very interesting to say the very least.
Oh, it is gonna go off.
Yes, it is, and that's before and we didn't even get a chance to talk about standard delivery was excellent. Um, Hall of Fame was generally quite decent from what I hear. Not to mention the like what seemed like a good 20 or 30 world class independent shows that were put on around Philadelphia from Thursday through till the end of this weekend. I had friends wrestling all over Philadelphia. Mad. And I got to work at VC3 today, so I'm doing okay too. I got my chance to eat a little bit. But yeah, Carl Wilkinson, thank you very much for joining us for a review of wrestling. You look like you are ready to tap out, to be fair.
Yeah,
I certainly
it's
am
been a
getting
long
there.
weekend.
Yeah, it's been a long weekend. But yeah, we'll drop this review on Monday evening, probably well before Raw, so you guys will have a chance to catch up with it and get your thoughts in. Let us know what you thought, you know? Send us some messages, send us some emails. You can do that at wrestleplug@gmail.com, or you can just find us at WrestlePlug on social media and let us know what you think. But content is back at the WrestlePlug, and that's a good thing. And Carl Wilkinson will probably see you in SummerSlam if we're lucky.
No, I need to get out of my cave. Summer's coming
Yes, he
around,
does.
so the seasonal depression can fuck off.
But anyone watching this who's still watching this, you need to leave comments about why Carl Wilkinson needs to be on the podcast more regularly instead of being a big fan. So yeah, but it is a pleasure to have you back on the podcast, mate. It's been a whopping weekend of wrestling, and it's still plenty to go because
Oh,
I've got a seminar with EC3 tonight, then race back here and watch Raw. Fucking hell. It never ever stops. A
bu
WrestleMania weekend burns me out like no other.
busy boy.
Yes, sir. But from myself and Carl Wilkinson, thank you very much for watching our WrestleMania 40 review. Thank you very much for listening as well. I'll make sure this is available by audio. So if you are listening to it via audio, let us know. That's pretty cool too. And we'll catch you very soon for more content from arguably the worst wrestling podcast in all of Great Britain, the WrestlePlug, July 27th. Remember the date. Remember the date.